Who are the people we need to kick off the island? Let's find out. Starting with number 6, rapping deal gone wrong. Kevhani Camilla Hicks is an aspiring rapper known as Key Vhani, who's also the self-proclaimed CEO of Pretty Thug Music. She's facing a serious charge after her involvement in the shooting of her manager in Miami's trendy Wynwood neighborhood. According to the police, the situation escalated from a simple argument to a physical confrontation involving 2 men, with one of them being her manager. The incident went down while surveillance footage captured Hicks and her manager exiting a white Lexus sedan. The footage showed a heated argument between Hicks and her manager, which quickly turned physical as another man joined in, both going after Hicks. After being thrown to the ground and overpowered, Hicks managed to get up and start walking away. However, the manager started following her, continuing the argument, then turned to walk back to his own car. That's when Hicks pulled a firearm from her purse and let off several shots in his direction, ultimately leading to him collapsing in the street. The security camera footage doesn't exactly support Hicks's claim that she acted entirely in self-defense, as it showed her firing at her manager as he was walking away. After the manager had collapsed, Hicks was struck by the Lexus as the other assailant fled the scene. Hicks sustained injuries and was treated at Jackson Memorial Hospital's Ryder Trauma Center, where her manager was also treated, but later succumbed to his injuries. Despite what was shown on video, Hicks told police she fired the shots in self-defense, fearing for her life after her manager's threatening remarks. In court, Hicks's public defender argued for self-defense, but the judge disagreed, pointing out that her manager was already retreating when her weapon was used. It's not considered self-defense if the confrontation has stopped and either party can reasonably escape. In this case, the manager was clearly walking away, and Hicks could escape to safety if she chose to, circumventing Florida's stand your ground law. Instead, Hicks decided to go on the offensive, leading to a tragic outcome. Number 5, the star sheriff. Jamey Noel, a former sheriff from southern Indiana, was slapped with 25 felony charges after he and his family allegedly splurged on a $5 million luxury spending spree with taxpayer money. Alongside his wife, Misty, 50, and one of their daughters, Kasey, 27, the trio faced accusations ranging from extravagant vacations to buying luxury cigars and even a small plane, with spending hitting as much as $300,000 on travel alone. It sounds like Jamey Noel wanted to live like a rapper. It wasn't just high-end stogies and jet setting that caught authorities' attention. The Noels also splurged on other perks, such as cosmetic surgeries and high-end fashion. Investigators discovered that the Noels had purchased designer suits from Tom James and luxury footwear from Ferragamo with the misappropriated funds. Investigators were particularly busy, executing around 50 search warrants on the family's properties and vehicles, uncovering evidence of their lavish lifestyle. The backdrop to Jamey's fall from grace was his stint on the reality TV show 60 Days In, which focused on reforming prison policies. His later years in law enforcement saw the Clark County Jail under scrutiny again when allegations surfaced that female prisoners weren't safe after a deputy compromised their safety, a debacle that also pointed fingers at Noel. Despite the clear evidence of their high-flying life, all 3 Noels have pled not guilty to the charges and managed to post substantial cash bails, with the money they totally saved and did not steal. A special judge and prosecutor have been brought on board due to the case's complexity and the high-profile nature of the accused. To make matters worse, upstanding father Jamey had an affair with a local council member, fathering a child and allegedly using the stolen funds to pay child support. The investigation also revealed the Noels charged nearly $200,000 in educational expenses for their 3 daughters, the volunteer fire agency's credit cards. And as if that wasn't enough, authorities also seized 26 shipping containers holding $7 million worth of missing military surplus gear, believed to have been hidden away by Noel. This surplus primarily consisted of heavy equipment, including a train engine and various vehicles. Who wants to steal a train engine? Wouldn't trying to sell that set off major alarms? At the time of this video, they have yet to go to trial. The Noel family remains under intense scrutiny, so things aren't looking good for them. Number 4, parents behaving badly. Tatiana Duffy from Florida, of course, got herself in some serious trouble after a chaotic scene at a school bus stop where she not only incited a confrontation between two students, but also threw hands herself. The incident, which was caught on camera, showed Duffy encouraging a girl in a red hoodie to go after another student, leading to a throwdown between the teens. As the confrontation unfolded, Duffy, a guardian to one of the students at the bus stop, didn't just stand by. She jumped in. When one of the students in a gray shirt was pulled away from another student in a blue shirt, Duffy intervened physically, going after the student, trying to break things up. This, of course, got her arrested. The confrontation initially began as a verbal clash and quickly escalated when Duffy started egging them on. Law enforcement arrived on the scene shortly after, navigating through the crowd to apprehend Duffy and one of the kids involved in the scuffle. This incident has obviously stirred considerable concern within the community, with Haines City Police Chief Greg Gorle commenting on Duffy's actions. He talked about the serious failure of an adult to protect and guide young people, rather than provoke conflict. Both Duffy and the charged juvenile face a multitude of fines and charges as the court prepares to address their cases as of the release of this video. Number 3. Covering up. Carson Lee Plank, a young deputy from Sarasota County, Florida, found herself embroiled in a high-stakes drama that reads like something straight out of a crime thriller. She was wrapped up in a scandal involving her colleague, Frank Bybee, who for some reason decided to go after an elderly woman. Frank Bybee, who was a deputy at the time, initially visited the elderly woman's home on a routine call and eventually befriended her. However, his intentions soon took a dark turn. According to the allegations, Bybee broke into her house a few months later and went after her with the intention of ending her life. When the woman managed to call for help, Carson Lee Plank was one of the first deputies to respond to her emergency call. Despite the clear signs of a confrontation and the woman's testimony about what Bybee did to her, Plank chose to ignore crucial evidence. She found and photographed evidence but failed to report it, and she misled her supervisors about the severity of the situation. Instead of helping to build a case against Bybee, she told him about the investigation and even reassured him via text message that she had squashed the accusations. Her decision to withhold crucial evidence and provide false information to detectives sparked an internal investigation that led to her own arrest. The consequences for her actions were severe, yet somewhat forgiving. Charged with tampering with evidence and lying to her superiors, Plank was handed a chance to clear her name through a 12-month pretrial diversion program. This opportunity meant she wouldn't face further charges if she adhered to conditions such as monthly reports, no firearms, and completing 50 hours of community service. Plank's ordeal culminated in her being placed on administrative leave pending the outcomes of the criminal and internal investigations. Bybee, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky. He got 15 years in prison, a steep fall for a man who once swore to protect and serve. Number 2. The 7-Eleven lock-in. Lachey Whitaker and Tiara Brown caused a chaotic scene at a Philadelphia 7-Eleven when they were locked inside by employees accusing them of shoplifting the previous day. When police finally arrived, things got crazy. Both women went to the store seemingly unaware that they were under suspicion, but as soon as they got inside, an employee quickly locked the door and contacted the police, trapping Whitaker and Brown inside. From there, things escalated, as Whitaker was seen trying to kick the door open and later, in a state of panic, started throwing merchandise around the store. Brown, on her part, argued with employees, pleading to be let out, mentioning her kids and denying any wrongdoing. Because, of course, the situation took a turn for the worse when the police arrived. Whitaker tried to exit the store but was pushed back by an officer. In the heat of the moment, she attempted to strike the officer, who then subdued her with significant force. Brown intervened, attempting to help Whitaker, which only added to the chaos. Ultimately, Whitaker was arrested and was hit with serious charges, as was Brown. Despite the serious accusations from the store employees, neither woman was charged with theft. In their defense, attorneys for both women criticized the police's handling of the situation and questioned the employees' decision to lock the women inside, calling it a severe overreaction to the alleged shoplifting. Do you think it's an overreaction? If you're enjoying this video, be sure to stay right here for our past release to find out the wild way these ladies smuggled out some Rolex watches. Number 1. The Friendly Commissioner. Regina Hill, an Orlando city commissioner, found herself deep in controversy after allegedly exploiting a 96-year-old woman financially. Hill had apparently got power of attorney over the elderly woman in April of 2021 and soon began using her funds for personal luxuries. More than $100,000 was reportedly spent on things like a facelift, dental work, high-end perfume, designer clothes, and numerous intravenous vitamin infusions at Vita Lounge. Hill even rang in the new year in style with a hotel room in Miami, all apparently billed to the nonagenarians tab. The spending spree didn't end with extravagant purchases either. Hill is also accused of using the elderly woman's money for home renovations. One of the homes in which Hill was residing had been inherited by the woman in 1988. Despite living there, Hill allegedly never paid rent. Additionally, a third party, which seems to be abandoned and lacks basic utilities, was purchased under Hill's name with the elderly woman co-signing the loan. The situation came to light when a family friend, Adrian Alexander, replaced Hill as the holder of the woman's power of attorney. Alexander raised the alarm, leading to an investigation by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, a branch of law enforcement that handles investigations and operations that go beyond typical policing duties, focusing more on complex statewide issues that require coordination across multiple jurisdictions or specialized expertise. The elderly victim, who isn't named in reports, told investigators she had no idea she was signing documents that would allow Hill to control her finances, saying she would never have agreed to such an arrangement. In the wake of these allegations, an Orange County Circuit judge issued a temporary protective injunction last week to safeguard the elderly woman's physical and financial health, highlighting an immediate danger of further exploitation. Hill's dubious past includes a history of 21 arrests in 1983, ranging from illegal substance offenses to fraud. Despite this, she managed to become a city commissioner after her civil rights were restored in 2008. Her legal entanglements also include an arrest in Birmingham in 2022 for public intoxication and disorderly conduct, charges that were later dropped. As of this video, a deadline is looming for Hill to respond to the allegations in writing. A court hearing has been scheduled to review the injunction, and with the ongoing legal scrutiny, the controversy casts a long shadow over her career. What are some of the most daring robberies? Let's get right to it and start with number 5. Watch this! Two Las Vegas women, Nikki Grandel and Stacy Johnson, targeted and robbed a man they met on the Caesars Palace casino floor. Grandel and Johnson were socializing with their victim when they convinced him to take them to his hotel room at Caesars Palace. But it wasn't long after they entered the room before he realized he was missing $6,500 and a Rolex watch. The man kept his valuable belongings in a small bag, and after discovering it was empty, he confronted the women. Grandel and Johnson did what anyone would do when wrongfully accused, fled the room and ran into the stairwell. But the women couldn't move faster than the Las Vegas police. The victim immediately reported the theft, and officers tracked down Grandel and Johnson using the hotel's surveillance footage and the victim's description. Police arrested the pair moments later and charged them with grand larceny. Authorities had to conduct an extensive search to find the Rolex, resorting to an X-ray examination where they discovered Grandel had placed the luxury watch inside her body to conceal it. And by body, you probably know what we mean. The one only women have. Additionally, Johnson stuffed the cash inside her pants. Grandel and Johnson's actions might seem extreme, but they were far from the only people to conduct this type of criminal operation at a casino. Cassidy Rain Paris was at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, when she approached a man at the casino's elevators. After telling the man he seemed tired and stressed, she offered to go up to his room to give him a massage. The man accepted the offer, and the pair went to his room. During the massage, Paris ordered him to remove his clothing and kissed him. She suddenly developed chest pain and excused herself to go to the bathroom. Within minutes, the victim heard his room door close and discovered his belongings were missing. Paris stole a Patek Philippe watch worth $50,000, $10,000 in cash, and $6,100 in poker chips. Paris's scheme was well thought out. After luring the man to his room, she used a diversionary tactic to distract him so she could rob him. Except she underestimated how easy it would be to track her down. Similarly to Grandel and Johnson, surveillance video captured Paris sprinting down the hall and driving away in a red car. Police located the GPS tracker on the red car she used to flee the scene. They apprehended Paris 4 miles east of the casino at a Days Inn motel and charged her with a second-degree felony for theft. So wait, we can't just trust any random women we meet named Nikki, Stacy, or Cassidy? Number 4. Gorle's 5. A gang of 5 robbers carried out a jewelry heist at Danielle Jewelers in Birmingham, England. The gang stole a highways maintenance truck and smashed it into the storefront, narrowly missing a staff member. 3 of the 4 robbers pulled a smash and grab. They barged into the store and smashed glass display cabinets with sledgehammers, then grabbed the jewelry and stuffed it into their sports bags. The 4th gang member stayed in one of the group's 3 vehicles, with the 5th kept the crowd at bay, waving an axe. The gang used a black Land Rover Discovery, a white Toyota Hilux, and a black Toyota Corolla for the raid. They parked the Land Rover and Toyota Corolla to block both sides of the ride of the jewelers and reversed the Hilux into the store. The 5 men fled the scene in the Land Rover and Hilux, abandoning the Corolla at the scene. Surveillance footage caught the group leaving the vehicles nearby and climbing into a stolen Audi TTS and a BMW 420. Despite spending weeks planning their operation, security cameras captured the entire robbery, and many concerned onlookers watched it occur. The ringleader, John Gorle, attempted to sell a stolen bangle for $1,850 at Birmingham's Jewelry Quarter 2 hours after the raid, 3 miles from the jewelry store. Unfortunately for him, surveillance footage captured the entire interaction. Detectives used surveillance footage from nearby businesses and a witness's cell phone footage. They linked Gorle to the robbery by his fingerprints on the store's sale sheet. Another member, Hassan Zulakar, bought tape and pads at a nearby auto parts store, which he used to put false number plates on their getaway cars. Authorities discovered he stole the Land Rover after they recovered backings to the pads that Zulakar left inside the vehicle, which were covered in his fingerprints. Additionally, they tied the rest of the group to the theft through fingerprints, clothing, and tags from the stolen jewelry they found in one of the members' homes. Officers arrested all 5 members of the group and charged them with conspiracy to rob and possess an offensive firearm. Birmingham Crown Court conducted a 4-week trial and found the group guilty. Their sentences ranged from 16 years to 12, reaching a combined total of 72 years. See, this is what happens when you get pulled in for one last big score. It never works. Number 3. King Crab. David Sabile is accused of conning seafood distributors out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Allegedly, Sabile pretended to work at a grocery store and created fake email accounts to make it seem like they belonged to multiple Safeway grocery store employees. He used the accounts to deceive Arctic Foods, a San Francisco seafood distributor, out of $700,000. Sabile used a false name and fake trucking company to plan 2 pickups and had rental documents that tied him to the trucks. After collecting the second shipment of crab, the owner of Arctic Foods reached out to Sabile to discuss being overcharged. When the owner couldn't reach Sabile, they contacted Safeway, who revealed Sabile was not employed by them. The distributor owner informed authorities of Sabile's actions, who began to watch him. Sabile planned another shipment, but employees loaded cheaper seafood rather than king or snow crab into the truck. Police pulled over the truck driver and arrested him on counts of forgery and possession of a fraudulent bill. They found crab from Arctic Foods that matched one of Sabile's alleged shipments being sold below market value in Florida. When Sabile coordinated a 4th shipment from Arctic Foods, authorities placed position tracking devices on the packaging. The shellfish ended up at a junk removal service in Florida, with Sabile likely unloading the product when he realized it wasn't king crab. Sabile booked a 1-way ticket to Colombia, but Miami police arrested him before he could board the plane. Sabile faces charges of bank fraud, grand theft, and counts of forgery and possession of a fraudulent bill. But this wasn't the first time Sabile committed criminal activity in the seafood industry. Sabile posed as a seafood seafood buyer in Florida and Alabama, where he would contact suppliers and claim he was buying large quantities of shrimp, fish, and lobster for a cruise line. Sabeel arranged to receive the seafood at cold storage facilities in Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, and Volusia counties, where he paid for the shipments with counterfeit checks. He also didn't pay a line of credit extended to him on at least one occasion. Law enforcement caught Sabeel attempting to buy $60,000 of shrimp from a seafood wholesaler. He was allegedly responsible for $200,000 in losses to seafood businesses in Florida and Alabama, and for this scheme, charged with bank fraud and grand theft. Number 2. Romanian skimming. The Riviera Maya gang specialized in skimming ATMs and stealing from tourists in Playa del Carmen and other nearby tourist areas in Mexico. The gang used skimming devices to obtain their victims' credit card information and copied their details onto blank cards to withdraw cash from ATMs worldwide. They likely began operating in 2012 and have targeted thousands of tourists. Florian Tudor is the leader of the Riviera Maya gang, which has around 1,000 members. He's a businessman from Craiova, Romania, known as El Tiburon, or the Shark, among other gang members. Romanian authorities believe Tudor ordered fellow gang members to threaten, blackmail, beat up, and even bump off the gang's enemies, including former members who fell out with him. ATM skimming involves stealing credit card information by placing a skimming device on the machine that reads the card's magnetic stripe when inserted. Criminals use the information to create cloned credit and debit cards, which they then use to withdraw money and make purchases. The Riviera Mayan gang took ATM skimming up a level, buying ATMs from well-known manufacturers, hacking their processors, and installing custom-designed software to steal bank card data. Their operation was far more sophisticated than the average criminals. They waited months before withdrawing money from compromised cards and almost always used them in ATMs far from where they were stolen or where the victims lived. The gang's skimmers and pulls operated worldwide, from India to Barbados to South Korea to Brazil and everywhere in between, making it almost impossible for victims to connect the theft to their Mexican vacation. Tudor and his stepbrother Adrian Anichescu set up Top Life Servicio company in Cancun that gave the gang the appearance of legitimacy while covering their criminal activities. Quickly, the gang decided it would skim more effectively if it had its own ATMs, so they went out and purchased some from well-known manufacturers like Triton and Hyosung. They hacked their ATM's processors and installed custom-designed software to capture card data. Additionally, the gang had an agreement with Multiva, a respected Mexican bank, to brand their ATMs with the bank's logo. Top Life operated over 100 Multiva-branded ATMs across the Riviera Maya and other popular tourist locations in Mexico by 2017. Wealthy tourists use those machines daily, innocently sticking their credit or debit cards for their information to be stolen. Each machine copied roughly 1,000 cards monthly, from which the gang would withdraw $200. Combining all the machines they operated, the gang's monthly income was $20 million. Top Life invested the money in Mexican real estate, such as the construction of their headquarters, a multi-story villa with a rooftop swimming pool, and an elevator built on land in the prime area of Cancun. Under Tudor's leadership, the gang laundered the funds. Most of Tudor's aides were Romanian and would withdraw small sums from stolen cards in Mexico, then send the money to Romania in cash or through Western Union. Tudor's relatives and business partners would invest the profits in luxury real estate that they legally sold to cover up any criminal activity. Despite running a sophisticated and carefully planned operation, journalist Brian Krebs received a tip from a technician that worked for a Mexican ATM company that a gang was offering $6,000 to install Bluetooth skimming devices in ATMs. Krebs traveled to Mexico to further investigate the potential criminal activity and discovered many ATMs had a Bluetooth link called Free to Move. His trip prompted Krebs to write a 3-part story on his blog about ATM skimming, where he mentioned an Eastern European gang was behind the scam. Tudor was furious and ordered members to temporarily extract chips from 10 ATMs they owned and 25 to 30 ATMs belonging to other companies or banks. Mexican police never followed up on the revelations in Krebs' articles, but the gang temporarily shut down their operations anyway. Although the gang avoided criminal charges, Tudor was beginning to unravel. His relationship with one of his most trusted men, Constantin Sorinel Marcu, deteriorated. Tudor was envious of Marcu's relationships with women, and Marcu wanted a higher cut than he was getting from the business. After a heated heated exchange over WhatsApp in May 2015, Tudor instructed all gang members to cut ties with Marcoux. In April 2018, 3 gang members attacked Marcoux. 2 months later, Marcoux passed away. Not only did his passing unleash a war with Marcoux's family and allies, but it put the Riviera Maya gang on law enforcement's radar. In May 2021, Mexican authorities arrested Tudor following years of investigations by Mexican and Romanian authorities. His arrest was in response to an extradition request from Romania, where he could face charges of organized crime, extortion, and attempted murder. Number 1. Partners in crime. Husband and wife duo Emmanuel and Kara Williams committed bank robberies in Florida and Alabama between December 2012 and November 2013. The couple made little effort to cover their tracks, using similar methods in each robbery. Emmanuel would enter the bank wearing an afro wig or a hat and pass a note with block lettering to the bank teller, demanding money. The pair robbed 15 banks within a short time, with 7 of those robberies occurring between December 2012 and February 2013. 6 more robberies happened between August and October 2013, and at least 2 being only a few days apart. The amount they took ranged from $1,623 to $8,438 per bank, and their net total was $54,750. Onlookers and surveillance cameras caught the couple driving away in high-end sports utility vehicles. In an August 28th robbery, a nearby business's security camera captured Emmanuel getting into a black 2011 Mercedes-Benz GLK 350. Another camera filmed them using a white Mustang in an August 22nd robbery. Using flashy cars and crimes? Wonder if that'll blow back on them. The FBI linked both vehicles to Kara Williams after requesting video from the Florida Department of Transportation Turnpike Authority to track the license plate number of the Mercedes to her. FBI agents conducted physical surveillance of the couple's Tampa apartment, where they had a front row seat into the duo's operation. There was a breakthrough in the case after the couple targeted a mid-Florida credit union, after which FBI agents tracked Emmanuel's cell phone activity to link his location to cell towers during the dates and times of the couple's crimes. They also used his social media photos to identify a scar on Emmanuel's left thumb, which he covered with a cloth on his hand to hide from the cameras in bank surveillance videos. 10 days after their first bank robbery, Kara gave birth around December 15th, 2012. At the time, Kara was on maternity leave from her job at JP Morgan Chase Bank. Kara also took sick days corresponding to bank robberies in Tampa and Auburndale. The FBI's investigation into the couple uncovered the couple's criminal activities, resulting in the pair's arrest. Kara and Emmanuel were charged with conspiracy to obstruct, delay, or affect commerce by robbery, each carrying a potential maximum 20-year prison sentence. Jeez, Kara, if you hated your job so much, you could have just quit. Click to watch one of these next videos. Let us know in the comments section what you'd rather have. Pick 1 year to pay 0 taxes or free healthcare for the rest of your life.